It's the beginning of another week on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Mariah Afolabi Brown. As always, I never do this alone. I have the ladies with me. Hello.
Good morning.
How are you doing, Obiajulu?
I'm doing great.
How was your weekend?
My weekend was good.
Questioning those children?
Yeah. Those kids, my house is full, you know now. My sister-in-law's kids are around.
Right.
So 3 of them. She has 3 kids. I have 3 kids. A boy, 2 girls. The same thing here. But as if we're planning it. So we're looking to load the 4th one if our orgas will agree. So they've been around and I've been questioning them because I overhear their conversations when I'm doing something and they're playing outside. And I'm like, these kids. Sometimes we think kids don't know anything, but if you ask them questions, and I remember when your kids came to visit as well, I was over hearing their conversation. I'm like, we can actually start asking these kids questions so we understand how they think, their mind, and what they want us to do better for them. So I've been doing that and just recording,
that's nice.
And I'm having fun. So I took them to see the movie on That's Lion King. Finally, we saw it on Saturday at Otta. There's a shop right in Otta, very close to us there. So we had fun, had popcorn. My husband was complaining, I don't have money. I don't have money. I said, calm down.
6 children, trust me.
Let them
It ain't cheap.
6 children on a weekend.
Trust me.
See,
Like,
when Mariam
spending like
invited
20K?
us, in my mind, I'm like, weekend. Because usually I'll watch movie on those days, Mondays, Wednesdays, when it's 1,000 naira with popcorn. But they say we should be nice.
Now
So,
253.
yeah.
How was your weekend, Jerry? Nima?
Very nice weekend, though. So me, I have shout-outs. Let me quickly shout out to the ladies of Your View. Thank you for my big party that you people gave me on Friday. It was really amazing. I've not had a party since I was 21.
Oh, really?
It's deliberate, sha. So, but you people forced a party and it was too big for me.
Did you hear how we
Yes.
It was small but nice and cute.
It was really nice. It was big for me. It was really nice. And the intention behind, so thank you so much for the love. And then I must shout out to my friend. We finally took our baby to church on Sunday.
Yay, congratulations.
My friend Inemi Balogun, we were in the hospital together and she actually lost a lot of pregnancies in my presence. But we took Tobiloba to church on Sunday and
such a beautiful
I just felt so
beautiful story.
There's hope. There's no issue that is too big for God to handle. There's no issue at all. Congratulations, Mie.
That's a huge testimony. Congratulations to her. Topsy, how was your weekend?
It was pretty interesting. It was time with family. Yesterday, I went to my in-laws' place with my husband and the kids, and they were sending forth their nanny that has been with them for 2 years. And she's going to get married. She usually goes home. She's from Benin Republic. She goes home and she comes back. But she's been so sweet. Friends of this family brought gifts for her for a bridal shower. You know, when we say be excellent in anything you do, she's a nanny. She cleans the house and takes care of the children. Yet all the friends know that she cooks world-class jollof rice. Please, before you go cook the world-class jollof rice, we'll come and host you. So everybody came to the house. People brought things, and they set up. But she was just crying, like because she didn't. You're so nice to me. You're so kind to me, and it was so. And also as people, we should be good to those that are coming to help us. Because we bring them into our households. We should be kind to them. Because I was really moved by how they sent her forth. Because they didn't just say, "Oh, you are going bye-bye." They said, "We will let you go in grand style." And I think it is a fantastic thing we should all be doing.
I moderated a seminar yesterday at Radisson at JCI, hosted by JCI, Junior Chamber International. Honestly, I didn't know who they were. I think I'm the last Nigerian to know because everybody asks me, "No, we don't touch JCI."
JCI is
this school here.
It was really big. I mean, a lot of people came. It was nice. It was interesting. It was good to have a good conversation concerning leadership, and it was nice. And that's my forte. That's my area. I was really comfortable. But somebody came to me. And in all this serious conversation, somebody told me that she noticed that I'm wearing the same jewelry all the time. A young Nigerian. In all the conversation that we're saying, it was the fact that
just give me the bangle.
Let me just tell her. Let me just give her the.
Is that the bangle she's saying?
Because I gave her the response, and I would like to give the same response for those thinking the same way. Listen, it's not broke. I can wear it every single day for the next 2 years. It's mine. I wore same shoes for like 2 years here, every single day, until it began to burn. It's okay. Then I removed it. But the truth is that if I wear the same thing every single day, it doesn't matter. It's mine.
No. Discipline is being able to afford something and looking away from it. A lot of Nigerians are living a fake life above their means because they want to make an impression on people. Focus on you.
Trust me, I wear it out, and the same thing I wear out, it's my own now.
Is it Abi?
Did you borrow it? Did you steal
it?
Borrow it.
Even if I borrow, I may borrow post with swag.
If it's bothering you, that because I'm on TV, I should be changing every day.
It.
Sorry, I'm a different human being. I don't need to change every single day. Let's go on a break. It's Monday. When we come back, we go through the front pages of the newspaper. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Right. Thanks for staying with us. We're going to start with The Nation. Presidency queries FIRS boss Fowler over tax cash. IPOB targets Southeast governors Nwudu Buratai for attacks abroad. No federal government ban on food imports. NNPC picks 15 firms to lift crude. Presentation of certificates to INEC not mandatory. 209 million naira seized assets, ICPC to prosecute federal government official. Okay, who has the FIRS story? Fowler.
I want to take the JAM story down there.
Which one?
Down.
JAM to withdraw results of candidates who tamper with scores.
Yes, this is an 18-year-old boy. Unekwe is his name. So he was caught inflating his UTME scores from 201 to 269 because he wanted to study medicine. According to him, his parents insist that he must study medicine. And since his cutoff didn't reach, he had to inflate it. So they invited him to Abuja with his mother, where he confessed that he actually, because they saw irregularities in the results, and he confessed that he actually inflated the results to be able to get into the university. So they are saying that after the investigations that they will prosecute him. He's the 5th person now who will be prosecuted.
So they still insisting on this
that result.
Apparently still forcing. Make it a topic another day. 209
yes.
ICPC.
So ICPC yesterday said they have secured final forfeiture for a 209 million naira property by an official. This person is not a top ranking, he's an official in the budget office of the Federation, Mr. Henry Ilemona Oyibo. And he has this property, it's a Jerry Joe Plaza, an event center in Nasarawa State that he built, and they said there's no way his income, even in a year, cannot provide him the resources to build that. And they've been querying all the funds, all the properties he owns, based on all that is accrued to him financially. They know that there's something fishy about it. So the independent corrupt practices and other related offenses working. Thank you.
All right. The major headline that FIRS boss Fowler was queried by the Chief of Staff of the President, Abba Kyari, saying that what they budgeted as collection for tax, there's a variance between that and the actual collection. So they're trying to ask him to present why and give a reason why there's that variance from 2015 to 2018. Yeah. Moving on now to The Punch. Fear spreads in flood-prone states as September rains loom. Picture here of tension as Yoruba and Hausa clash in Lagos market. Police discover decomposing body of Ogun farm worker. 8 arrested during initiation into 1 million boys. Lagos cabinet nominees meet assembly today. Tomorrow. Sanwo-Olu inaugurates council tomorrow. Obasanjo expresses concern on division among Yoruba monarchs. Folari asks El Rufai others to stop 2023 debate. 8 UI student pupils use varsity, sue varsity over hijab. FG protests Big Brother Naija live sex plans alternative show. Ekweremadu Senate says shameful and others. Sorry, let me take that again. Senate says attack shameful. Others slam IPOB for what happened to Ekweremadu. Okay, let's take a few stories there.
So this boys group, 1 million boys were picked. Some of their suspects were picked up in this area in Ojo, Shibiri area in Ojo, and it includes a female member. They were paraded, and weapons were found on them, cutlasses, all sorts of weapons, and you know the way they do their deal. So the police picked them up on the streets, and some cult group that they are supposed to belong to 1 million boys are supposed to be like a cult group. Young people are supposed to be the ones that are members, and of course in Shibiri area they've been of course operating within the area and tormenting the oppressing people around that area. they've been arrested. It's just worrisome for me because Ojo is very close to me, and there's usually reports of crime, and
And they're very young
activities around them.
men, young boys and girls. They're 21, 20, 22, 19, 18, and I'm wondering, are they not in school?
There's a story that caught my own attention that I must say, please.
Okay, please say
FG protests Big Brother Nigeria live sex, and they're planning their alternative show. The reason why that caught my attention is because after the very first... Okay, let me tell you what the story said. The story said that the federal government is planning to do an alternative Big Brother show. And I'm saying, after the very first Big Brother, I worked for HITV, High TV, and we produced, and I put together a reality show called Nigeria to do exactly what he wants to do, which is bring Nigerians from all over the culture and do cultural activities to project our culture. We were now stopped by this company, the multi-choice company. Unfortunately, our own government did not back us up then. We didn't have anybody to support us then. If we had done that show then, people that would not have the strong foundation they have now. Now, many years after, they're now waking up, what's the alternative? Uncle, please
quickly, there's a story there in Ogun State. The police uncovered a decomposed body. Yes, so this particular guy, 27-year-old farmer, his name is Mukaila Ogunshola, who was a farmer with his boss, and then his boss allegedly killed him because of theft. So he invited him over to the farm in pretense that he wanted to have a serious discussion with him, only for him to get there. He killed him and buried him beside a mango tree, but I'm glad that the police is investigating it.
It's great.
Yeah.
Vanguard, Nigeria to spend $2.53 billion on 43 ministers. NNPC selects 15 consortia for oil sales, products, and purchase deal. Taraba police killing army captain engaged welder to remove cuffs for Wadume. IPOB's attack on Ekweremadu warning to Igbo leader, says Kano. Let's start with the major headline and I'll come to the...
Okay.
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead, Topo.
So Nigeria, the ministers... What Vanguard has done is fantastic and laudable, and I think that everybody should read it. They're giving a breakdown of the cost of every minister. The 43 ministers we're going to have, the budget for the next 4 years will cost Nigeria 2.53 billion naira. 2.53 billion naira. Breaking down what their monthly basic salary would be. For me, that's not too much because per annum it will be over 2 million for those that are ministers, and Minister of State will get 1.8. However, the other allowances, those allowances.
Well, what they're getting every year is earns 11.6 a year, not 2.8.
No, that would be their basic allowance is 2 million. But the total, when they add all the allowance, will rise to 11 million.
Anyways,
and whenever you ask the ministers, they will tell you our salary is very basic. It's just 500,000.
We're going to study it. We'll now make it a topic, and let's discuss it. If we agree with it or we think there should be a review. Let's talk about the Wadume story. Yes.
So this story is still uncovering. The military man was discovered to have, intimidated the police units. The police area unit covering the EB area by calling on the officers at the time when he was carrying out this crime. He also commanded the DPO of that area to find a way to get the keys to the handcuff on Wadume. And when they couldn't find that, he of course brought a welder to cut it off. He didn't stop there. He called the DCO in charge of the police station also to destroy evidence of any documentary reports of the officers coming into the area to pick up Wadume. And after continuous intimidation, he was forced to do that. But they were unable to clear it off all the states, all the police units within the state. This is so annoying when you read the way this thing was staged and managed by this officer.
Properly planned.
Continuously intimidating police officers and threatening to harm them until they do his bidding.
And he actually ended up killing 3 people.
He killed 3 people, and he was going to kill the survivor, the 4th man, who was already seriously injured. But because they kept threatening that the villagers had made a video of that incident, that was the only reason that man was saved. You need to read the story. It's so annoying.
All these allegations are strong, but there's a good news.
He's been arrested.
NNPC,
please,
yes.
they should please
and
prosecute.
we're happy that they are open about the entire case. There's nothing hidden.
Of course, the sentencing should be commensurate.
So the NNPC new boss, the GMD of NNPC, Malam Mele Kyari, has, when it was inaugurated in July 8, said that it was going to be very transparent. And in the space of being transparent, in its something tagged transparency, accountability, performance, and excellence, which is what will be going forward for the new NNPC, he released for the first time ever the names of the 15 companies that will be carrying our crude oil to sell outside. And we don't, usually all these things are shared in conspiracy and you don't know what happens. Yeah. But now we're saying everything, anybody that gets contracts from NNPC will be publicized. Okay. Every amount made will be publicized, and all the staff were in this town hall meeting. So we're happy that things are looking up.
We're happy to see these published names. Okay, this daily stuff we have to run very quickly. IPOB under fire over Ekweremadu. Ekweremadu is actually one of our topics, so we won't focus too much on it because it's not. But lockjam on Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. Do you have that story?
Yes, I do. Go ahead. So this happened in Ilekbo, Abulegba, Axis, the market.
Lagos-Abeokuta.
Yes, Lagos-Abeokuta. So a particular scavengers, a scavenger, those people that carry barrow carts, yes. He was walking and mistakenly hit a Yoruba guy who had one of the street urchins, what you call them, area boys. Hit him and his goods fell. Okay. So they started an argument, and before you know it, they got into a fight. And then the area boys joined their Yoruba person to fight the Hausa scavenger, and then all the Malams, all the Hausas on their bikes, it turned to an ethnic fight. It was very terrible. A lot of people were injured. Nobody died anyway, but I don't know why we make everything about ethnicity. I think we really have
to. That's all we can take on page. Actually, unfortunately, I couldn't reach this day. The few stories I really wanted to.
I wanted to take, but time is not.
Floodings, yeah, I'm sure we'll still be on the series. Okay, let's go on a break. When we come back, we'll discuss our lineup topics for today. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So on Saturday, a video emerged on social media where the immediate Deputy Senate President, the immediate former Deputy Senate President Ekweremadu, was spotted being beaten out of an event in Nuremberg, Germany, by Nigerian residents in the country. In the video, most of the attackers were heard saying unimaginable and unprintable words. Now, obviously, everybody has responded. Abike Darby, the chairman of the Nigerian National Diaspora Commission. The Nigerian Diaspora Commission actually has said something about this, said that it was shameful and it was pathetic. Quite a number of people have actually spoken about this. I'd like to hear your views and your thoughts on this video. Who would like to go first?
So can I go? For whatever reason, because they had their reasons for the attack, I think it's unjustifiable. You can't justify attacking an individual who comes to attend an event. I think we should get to a point where even if we have grievances against our leaders, we should channel it to the appropriate authorities. What did they hope to achieve with that attack? What did they hope to get out of that attack? Did they think that that attack will change what it is that they are fighting for? Because the truth is, we are just showing the world how uncivilized we are. People don't do things like that. And I know that they have their grievance. They are upset. They are feeling that he's a sellout. He sold them out when it comes to collecting whatever he's collecting from the federal government. And all. They feel that I understand where they are coming from. Okay, but let me attacking him, is that the right thing to do?
All right, let me come to talk about your thoughts on this.
You know, when you push somebody to the wall, they'll fight back. That's the truth.
Who was pushed to the wall here?
The citizens, the members of IPOB, allegedly, they're the ones that have been said to have carried out this attack, and they've listed their grievances consistently over a long time, that their people have been marginalized, and they've tried to talk to their leaders, which is what I've always said on this platform, that don't come to federal government. You have representative in the Senate. You have representative in your state level. Hold them accountable for the lack of development you've not seen in your area. Deal with them. And they've said they've tried those means. We have our politicians acquire so much wealth on our backs, the back of the suffering Nigerian, the back of people that cannot get to hospitals, back of people that are hungry and dying by attacks every day, day in, day out. So you acquire this wealth and you rub it in our faces. We see you living large. We see you earning all this memo. And we can't hold you accountable anyway. When we talk to you, you don't listen. So when people have been pushed to the wall, they fight back. The animal in them shows up. I don't agree with the beating, but I understand why it happened. And some part of me is happy that it happened. Because I feel they need to experience the pain of the people. And when they experience it, they will understand. You see, you can't acquire money. You can't acquire our money and just be rubbing it in our faces.
Calm down. We're entitled to our views, and I'll allow you to have your view.
It's painful.
Yeah. But at the same time, I don't think it's right for us to project violence.
I know.
Under no circumstance should anybody hit anybody for whatever reason.
Sadly.
That's why we always fall to the law to take the
When the law refused to work.
Okay, let me come to Nima on this.
Let me just...
If I come to Nima, for Nima, if I come to you, you see, I've been thinking of how best to express my thoughts on this because I don't want to go ethnic, I don't want to go tribal. I'm trying to be as objective as possible. But I don't know if this can happen in the Southwest.
It won't even happen in Nigeria, Murayo.
Where if somebody can actually beat up a leader. Because Ekweremadu is arguably maybe the highest ranking political officer in Nigeria today.
It's not by politics. Be good, be kind.
No. So he's arguably the highest ranking. How would you, as a child, a person,
beat up your father?
It won't happen in Nigeria, Murayo, because the people of Nigeria are so handcuffed with societal and they are dependent on these people that they will not speak up.
The reason it wouldn't happen in Nigeria is that you command the security.
Yes.
You know how many detailed policemen will work with him if he was in Nigeria? It will happen anywhere. People are agitated. That's the problem. I hope this is a call to all our leaders who do lip service and, you know, play tribal card when it's necessary. I would take you down memory lane when, what's the IPOB leader, his name? When he was picked, when he was picked up in Nigeria here, people stood up with him. Ekweremadu was with him. Inaya Abaribe signed his bond for his bail before he left this country. And he has issued a statement warning Southeast leaders from visiting any country outside Nigeria, saying that this kind of thing will happen to them. You cannot be what Yoruba call shekusheye attitude. You have to stand with Nigeria if you are with Nigeria and stand with IPOB when you are with IPOB. Condemn what is bad directly so that they know your stand. This person has always been their leader, their person they look up to. And every time when it is important, is Nigeria. When it is not important, it is IPOB. You have not been clearly quoted to be against what is wrong.
Nima.
Hold on. Abaribe, who stood shorty for him, condemned at some point that this is extreme.
Okay, let me pause you for a second.
Southeast leaders within Southwest, within other parts of the country have been saying, we are one country. But the people outside the country have a strong belief in the agitations of Biafra. Okay. And then you travel out of the country to have a yam tasting, whatever.
Let me invite our guest. Actually, he was supposed to join our conversation, but unfortunately, he couldn't be. He was stuck somewhere, so he couldn't be here, but we decided to call him. Joining us now on the phone is the former Deputy Governor of CBN and a former presidential aspirant, Professor Kingsley Moghalu. Welcome to the show, sir. Are you there?
Yes, I am. Thank you very much. I'm a former presidential candidate, not an aspirant.
Yes.
Oh, sorry, I do apologize. Presidential candidate, you're correct. Now, the issue of Ike Ekweremadu video that went viral, what are your general thoughts on this?
Well, I watched the video like so many Nigerians. It came into my WhatsApp, and I watched it, and I was actually very sad. I thought it was a very humiliating spectacle. For him personally, I thought it was a sad moment for our country. First of all, I want to say that I do not endorse violence in any event. I think we can disagree without being violent. However, I also want to say that the real import of this incident, we should also look at it. And that is, you know, the people are really in despair about the lack of progress. There's a lot of anger against the career political class in our country. And these people finding an opportunity to vented themselves in a way that should have been much better controlled. So I think, you know, people are very, very upset about the politicians. People are disappointed. You know, we see, for example, the senators. You know, I read an article the other day that they were going to spend $10 billion
on
buying
cars.
and things like that. So the political class is living large and living rich.
Point taken, Prof.
Poverty is increasing in our country.
Point taken, Prof.
Sir, do you think that if IPOB gets their wish, which is to have their own country, do you think they will do better than what Nigeria is doing today? Because the truth is, it's easy for you to say from when you're not in the environment. I'm going to the East next week, and I know that they do not even develop their own place. So do you think that if they get that opportunity to get that secession, do you think they'll do better than Nigeria?
Well, first of all, IPOB is a group that is, seeking something. They're seeking a separate state of Biafra. They are not the ones in control of the Southeast.
Now.
The Southeast is controlled by elected government.
Yes, sir.
So, and of course, people have their issues with those governments. Some of those governments are doing well, some are not doing as well. So, I believe that we should reform Nigeria
as a country.
I believe strongly that electoral reform is necessary before 2023, so that the people's vote can actually count.
All right, thank you.
Let's talk about sincerity of this. The IPOB first, the agitations of... Sincerity. Let's talk about the IPOB agitations. How sincere are the IPOB members and every other Indigbo member within the Southeast on that agitation, number one? The Nigerian government, number two. How sincere have they been in the past and even presently on settling the differences that we've had over the years that, that continue to divide us?
Yes, that's a very good question. First of all, I want to tell you that the agitations of IPOB are really a cry for justice in Nigeria. There is no justice in Nigeria. I think that's very obvious to all of us. And so some people have then gotten to the extent of saying, well, if there is no justice in this country, we want to break away. Some of us say, well, what may be a better way is for there to be a constitutional restructuring whereby fiscal authority is devolved to the different regions so that they can be in charge of their affairs more and more, and then contribute part of their revenue to the center for us to run common services. So I believe in constitutional restructuring for a true federalism in Nigeria.
Professor Moghalu.
That's what I personally believe in. Now, let me come to the question of the sincerity of the government. The fact of the matter is that I don't think the government is very sincere. I think they talk about an indivisible one Nigeria, but on whose terms? On whose earth? Is it an indivisible one Nigeria in which there is equity and justice and all of us are equal? That is...
Okay, point taken, Prof. Prof, are you still there? I think we might have lost that call. Hello, Prof, are you still there? Okay, we might be having network issue. I was going to ask him another question, but talk about your thoughts.
Please, because I know that I have said here over and over again that the issues on ground are beyond... Violence can't solve the problem. I don't support violence. Yet, the issue of secession is a cry to solve the issues on ground. And when you ask about sincerity, if you say you don't support what IPOB is doing, that they have gone to the extreme, but you have not fought for the issues they have, the issues of lack of equity.
The position that you hold.
You have not fought for the issues that they have not been fairly represented. The areas have been fairly represented in development and even politically represented. So when you don't fight for the issues and you worry that they fight back against you, then you have not solved the problem. You have incited them to give you what you've gotten from them.
Unfortunately, I have to go on the break. When I come back, we have a lot to talk about. And we still, hopefully, we still have Prof back on the phone. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So, before we go to the next topic, I know that, Prof, are you still there? Hello, Professor Moghalu, are you still there? Oh.
Hello, I'm here.
Oh, good, good to have you on. Now, I'd like to talk about the perception that Southeasterners don't have a unifying front. that it seems as though there's a division, there's no unity in their push for either Biafra or either even more representation in the government today. There isn't that united front. Do you agree with that? And if you agree, what do you think can be done? Because do you think that's what caused this? That's one. Secondly, do you also...
I'm sorry, can you speak a bit louder?
Okay, what I'm saying is that there's a perception out there that there's no united front from the southeastern part of the country, southeastern part of the country. Yeah. That you're not united either on the Biafra campaign or even a representation within the country as it is right now. Do you agree with that perception, that there's no united front?
I think it's an exaggerated perception about the Southeast, because where is there a united front in Nigeria today? Is it in the North? There are two people contesting the presidency, and they all come from the North and South, and they're in court today. Is it in the Southwest? So I think it's a bit of an exaggeration when people like to, create the impression that people from one part of the country are never able to have...
So I disagree. I disagree in the sense that there are major investments by Southerners within the Southwest alone and in every single state in the country. And then you call for a secession. What about the investment and the people whose lineage has been, who have moved between tribes by marriage? That's what Morai is trying to talk about, if I understand her clearly.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that very well. The line is...
I said, I want to disagree that the perception is exaggerated, in the sense that the investment of the Southeasterners within Lagos alone, talk less of all the states within the country, allude to the fact that they can't be sincere about a secession.
I see. Well, let me, I couldn't hear very well, but let me just say something. Okay. There is, of course, something very unique about the southeastern part of the country. And that is that they happen to be very, very nationalistic about Nigeria. And that's because they move around in Nigeria far more. People from other ethnic groups, they settle in every part of Nigeria and do business. So that makes a lot of people from that part of the country very committed to the idea of Nigeria. But as I was saying, increasingly there are people who feel that there is injustice, and they're beginning to fight it because they feel their voices are not getting heard, and they're moving to a position that they want to pull away from the country.
So, Prof,
yeah.
I mentioned during the break, we were bantering on it during the break, and I said that in most cases when wives or husbands say, I want a divorce, usually it's because they want to be able to convey what they feel and how much it hurts them. And when I hear IPOB asking for secession, it's because they feel extremely undermined and marginalized in this country. But what Mariah is saying is that, who is that one person? Is it Indigbo? Is it Ekweremadu? Is it, what's the name? Masob. Who is that one person that has been able to convey the message? Is there an agreement? Because the Southwest gathered a few months back to decide on what restructuring means to them. So what exactly is the agitation that the Igbos want? If you don't want secession, what exactly do you want clearly articulated that the government and Nigeria will deal with?
In clear terms.
And who is the one representing the Indigbos?
Okay, let me answer that question. I think it is very clear that a number of political organizations, most prominent of which has been, I think, the Organization, have made it very clear, working with the other groups in the South, the Middle Belt, Southern and Middle Belt Forum. They've made it very clear that their demand is for a constitutional restructuring of Nigeria. I think that's a very clear position coming out from the Southeast.
Okay. Taking it from what Mariah said initially about the Igbos not presenting a united front. I remember that when we have, when it's time for politics and elections, we see like the Hausas come together and say, okay, we have this one person and we have that one person running as vice. Then we have the Yoruba say we have this person and we have that person running. So they pool their resources together and they push people forward. But when it comes to the people in the Southeast, you have like 1,000,001 people from that area coming out. Yes, sir.
Let me agree with you in that sense. that there is a saying, that the Igbos have no king.
Yes, sir.
They are very Republican. And this leads to a lot of political fracturing. Yeah. And I personally think that this has not helped them very much. I think that a lot of them have had a second-class mentality politically after the Civil War. And so they feel not bold enough to advance their own political agenda, but to play second fiddle to other ethnic nationalities. So yes, I myself have spoken out against this tendency, and I agree with you that it can be a bit extreme.
All right, we have to run off on this topic, but I'd like to ask a final question. Do you have any fears that it could be a ripple effect or even a copycat of this across board for other leaders? Because if you're already beating up one leader abroad, other leaders will begin to fear that, okay, what's in the air? The other day, Showore was arrested for trying to incite for revolution. So what's in the air? Do you have that fear that this could actually cause more of these type of actions going forward?
Yes, indeed. I do worry. I think you can expect that if certain, individuals, political leaders go abroad for events, they may experience this type of treatment to the same or a lesser extent. I've seen something that IPOB put out saying that no governor from the southeast should visit any of the countries where they are. So I do worry about this. Of course, it's not easy to do this inside Nigeria because, as someone said on your program, these people leaders have lots of security around them. But clearly, there's an indication of a certain feeling. And I think the political class is being put on notice to understand that there's a limit to which they can be corrupt. There's a limit to which they can fail to deliver to the people. And I think this is a very important wake-up call for them.
Right. We're going to go on a break now. When we come back, 2 Nigerians arrested for fraud. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. Before we go into our next segment, let's take a few tweets from the last one.
Okay, so Andrew in Stratham says, the Igbos can't leave Nigeria. Why? They are landlocked in Nigeria and have no coast. The Efik and Ijaw will never go with them. The Efik and Ijaws have coast. Anchor Omodu
I didn't want to read any about any ethnic type of...
Anchor Omodu says,
do you have any non-ethnic type of tweets?
The lesson to be learned from the IPOB, belligerency against Senator Ekweremadu is that we have to act early in time to nip it in the bud. A conflagration waiting to happen. We should stop playing the ostrich. We should be patriotic citizens who would rather profile legitimate solutions.
Adebayo says, how does beating up people solve the problems of Nigeria? The people who carried out this mob action will be dealt with severely, as the laws of the place they claim to legally reside in will be used and they will face the consequences.
Okay, let's move on. Over the weekend, 2 Nigerians, according to reports, dented the image of our dear country. Former Nigerian footballer Samson Siasia was banned from football for life by FIFA due to bribery. Also, Obiwanne Okeke, also known as Invictus Obi, was arrested by FBI for committing internet fraud. In June 2016, Invictus appeared on the cover of Forbes Africa, who named him one of the 30 Africans who may be future billionaires. A lot of Nigerian youth have taken to the social media to share their thoughts on this. What are your own thoughts on this? Who would like to go first on this matter?
Okay.
Talk about
because I'm the one going first, I'll conclude my last discussion. That a lot of people feel that this is wrong and the beating is wrong, but I feel that our leaders have escaped with a lot. And when they realize there will be serious, dire consequences to their actions, probably when they get back into the assembly, they would understand that they don't have this escape route and they will speak up for the plight of the Nigerians. With Obi, I was pained because I actually read his story when he broke in Forbes and when the BBC carried the story and all of this. And I felt inspired by him. I felt challenged that this young man, oh my goodness, in this country we are complaining, people are doing stuff, man. And I was motivating myself to go and fight. And so when I now heard this, I felt bad that once again, you've taken off that that image, that role model in picture that we are all in Nigeria aspiring for. The young people are saying that if this man can do it, I can do it too. You've taken away that opportunity for us to hope that legitimacy can make money, because what he has preached so far is that he used this smart, he used this hard work, he used this connection and rallied support from people, and he was able to build an empire.
His man has lectured at the London School of Economics.
Yes.
He has done TED Talks, and he's been on BBC several times. So this is not just one roadside boy. This is Invictus Obi.
I am very, very afraid for our children and the future of the country, honestly, because we sit here and we preach hard work. We sit here and we preach wait for your time. And the people that we think waited for their time and got it legitimately, you now hear that they were not waiting for their time. While they were preaching hard work, they were cutting corners. It's annoying, it's terrible.
But you know something that came across to me yesterday when I was at the event? There was a man in his 60s. He was talking about the fact that hard work, he's a man of integrity, you know, he has character, the fact that he was recently appointed because his integrity spoke to him, so he spoke for him. And I asked him a question. I said, how many houses do you have? He said, 1. How many cars do you have? He said, 1, 2, maybe just 3 normal cars. I said, do you have a yacht? He said, no. He said, why are you asking? I said, because the Nigerian youth that are watching you right now, they're not inspired. At all. Or your name, you're a man of integrity. You have 1 house. Hey, you have no yacht. So you have not inspired. To you, you've said something that carries weight, but to them, until it doesn't make sense.
Let me tell you something. We need to redefine what success is to us.
Exactly.
I listened to Professor Hussein when he was appointed VC to LASU give a speech about himself. I felt inspired by his mother, Yolole. The mother was known on Lagos Island for selling moi moi. She was a successful woman. In her small means, she raised a boy who came out first class, studying aeronautic engineering or something, a very complex kind of science abroad. He went for his master's, first distinction. He went for his PhD, distinction. That is success for women. We've redefined it now. You're talking about a man who considers himself successful and a man of integrity, and he wasn't inspiring to the people. Because material things are not success. We miss it. You see, the packaging has taken over so much. It's so bad, it's painful. If I cannot present you life, the glamour, the shine, or the bling things, you look at me and you think I'm not successful. As I'm sitting here, I consider myself successful in a lot of ways because I wake up every single morning. I have things to thank God for.
Let me there's a quote I saw. There's a writer that I'd like to read, because I feel that what got me upset about this Invictus Obi story is the fact that the comments, suddenly Nigerians are now they're now saying, they're now pointing fingers, him, them. And when I read this article by a man called El Nathan, he said Nigerians are acting like the man caught by FBI is a criminal with distinction, when in fact he's the image of the Nigerian hustle. Obi is Nigeria, and Nigeria is Obi. Nigeria is the perfect breeding ground for this. There is no social consequence for crime. The only thing that brings shame in Nigeria is poverty. Not rape, not fraud, not theft, not murder, not corruption.
As sad as it is, I agree.
As
sad as it is, I agree.
The thing with the whole, this issue right now comes down to when a mother has a child and the child suddenly starts bringing some things home that the parents did not buy. And then you welcome them. My mom was around this weekend, and we're talking about some people coming home with things that on a normal day, you don't know how they got the money to get it. And a child who is doing NYSC, whose parents are living in face me and face you, will be carrying iPhone 8. And then you collect all the goodies she brings home. My child, oh God, we bless you. And they pray for their children. So I really do not know how...
So I was insulted for questioning how some celebrities got their money. They said, why do I want to know? And this is the reason why we want to know. Because at the end of the day, this man's singular action would deny many legitimate Nigerians visa. Of course. Because they will look at them and think that this person, legitimate businesses would apply to get funds from developed countries, and they will say, no, you are a lie.
Let me respond to what you just said, because I read El Nathan. This man, he addressed what you just said. He said, what hurts us is not that he committed a crime. What is hurting Nigerians is that he cannot get visa. that the perception of you is now that a thief.
No.
That's what is hurting Nigerians.
That he got caught.
So much that you are a different person.
No.
I'm saying Nigerians are angry
he got
not
caught.
because
he
committed a crime,
Yes,
but because he got caught
yes,
and because it is going to affect their own.
The underlying value of Nigeria is that anyhow you want to be rich, just be rich.
Yes.
As long as you are rich, you are good, and we celebrate
invite
every form of richness.
Let me invite Prof to this conversation.
Every
Prof, are you
form
still
of
there?
wealth.
Professor Moghalu, are you still there?
Yes, I am.
I do apologize for keeping you up because I know you're supposed to be on the show today, but it's okay. Now, this issue of Samson Siasa, Invictus Obi, what are your general thoughts on this?
Focus on
The issue of what?
Your views on Invictus Obi, the young man, Obi-Wan Okeke, who was recently arrested by FBI.
Oh, yes, of course. Well, the only thing I have to say is that for one Obi-Wan, there are hundreds of thousands of hard-working Nigerians who are making it in a very legitimate way. So that's the first thing we have to bear in mind. We should not think that the exception is the rule. Second, I agree with one of you on the program who was talking about the whole question of value, how we have become too attracted to success that we cannot explain, and those kinds of things. I think we should be very careful before we celebrate people. We should check their track record very well and be sure.
But Professor Moghalu, this man is a man of distinction. I mean, I'm talking about somebody who's lectured at London School of Economics. This is not just some roadside guy that became rich. We actually saw his track record. He went to good schools.
So he had to help himself.
I went to good schools. I had a doctorate from the London School of Economics.
Thank you, sir.
I'm not scamming anybody.
Thank you.
So you see
So
that.
how do you differentiate?
So, sir, what can
he has your profile. So how do we differentiate for you from him?
Is there anything?
Well, the point is this. The point is this. There will always be defiant behavior. Sometimes some people who may be learned. All the criminals in the world are not illiterate. There are a lot of people who are educated and who still are unethical. And so we should take them on their own terms, and they should face the music when they are found out. I don't think it's something we should apply to everybody or misunderstand.
Sir, thank you very much.
Does this have to do with the fact that we do not have a system that checks how people get their resources? Because I remember when I went to shop in US and we brought out the dollars, and as I was paying, if you see the way those old women lined up and they were staring, I'm sure if I was an American, they would have called the police to check how I got that money. So is there a way we can work on our system to be able to fish out when you start verify and fish out people who are getting illegal money?
Yes, of course. I mean, that's the duty of the police. And that's why when I was a deputy governor at the Central Bank of Nigeria, we introduced some banking reforms that make financial transactions very visible and allows us to be able to track those transactions. So, for example, money laundering or financial crimes are easier now to trace and to deal with because of those reforms that we put into the system. I was deputy governor for operations when we instituted the bank verification number, the BVN, which has which has been a major contribution to this evolution. So it's a financial system and a function.
Yes,
on our part at the central bank, we did our best. I think it's for the law and the law enforcement agencies to also do their part.
Okay.
Sir, we claim to be very African when it's necessary, but we've suddenly not, recently, this generation no longer show respect due to age or elderly or wisdom or whatever that a person brings, so that we no longer see a person who does menial work or, a petty trader, someone who is consistently in a particular business and has never gotten into loan, and go ends legally. But we celebrate quickly anybody who has money to buy a 10 million naira table at a comedy show, someone who buys out a when did we get there? Suddenly, how did we misplace our priorities like this?
Is that for me to answer?
Yes, yes. Well, sounds like a rhetorical question, but go ahead.
It sounds rhetorical, but it bothers me.
I totally agree with you. There's a problem of values in our society. Recently, there was a time I ran into some young people. And they were looking at their phone. And I said, what are you looking at? And they said they're looking at Bobrisky.
Bobrisky.
And I said, what is that? Is that a pseudonym, a sobriquet, a cognomen, a nom de plume, or a nom de guerre? They were gazing at me. I was deliberate in using those words. And I began to explain to them what each one meant. The point I was trying to make to them, and I said, listen, my dear young people, go for the literati, not for the glitterati. Go for the people who are serious, who have a track record. Don't just go for the paparazzi or the cognoscenti. The problem in our society is that we have come to worship too much glitz, glamour, wealth, and all that glitters is not gold. This is the value we should impart to our young people, and work for a reorientation of value, the way it used to be before. Okay. When I was growing up, I admired the Chinua Achebes and the Wole Soyinka. I wasn't looking at people like Prof.
Thank you, Prof. Yes,
sadly, I followed Invictus Obi before this news broke. He looks legit. He looks like a hard-working, he had investments. He had investments across Nigeria and in African countries. He had real estate businesses. He had oil and gas businesses. He had buildings that he was selling. So it's not that he portrayed himself as a fluffy person without background, because I don't follow fluffy people. So indeed, he came across like a legit business person, only for us to hear that he has made $24 million through internet fraud. So when you say that we should look for people that have that have substance, how do we know them? How else can we know someone if he has businesses across African countries? How else can we verify? Because people like you don't share yours. You're not on social media. You're not speaking to the young people. You're not telling us your struggle. Our legit money makers are not coming to connect with me and connect with younger Nigerians to tell us how you have grown this money. So those that are speaking would meet our needs and we'll follow them. You can't blame us for following them. Simple. Are you there, sir?
Let me answer with my own experience.
Right.
I am not a wealthy person, but I have connected with a lot of young people across Nigeria. By the grace of God, I have had a very successful life in a different way. And I think, what I have done at all stages of my life, the 17 years I spent working for the United Nations, my 5 years as Deputy Governor of the Central Bank, my years as a professor at one of the most prestigious universities in the United States, those things are very clear. I can say to people, when you're looking at people who are wealthy or people whose appeal is based on their wealth, be a bit suspicious. Trust but verify. Keep an open mind. Be a bit skeptical. That's what I would say.
Thank you very much. I think on that we can wrap up. Thank you very much, Prof, for joining us this morning. We're going to go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll open our phone lines for those of you who've been trying to call in. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thank you for staying with us. We're going to open our phone lines because we've been talking to Professor Moghalu, so our lines were blocked. But I think now we're going to get some phone calls. But in the meantime, let's take a few tweets. Obiajulu.
Oh. I was busy laughing,
We're laughing.
Okay, let me get it. I think you're ready.
You mind?
So, Andrew in Streatham says...
Andrew, eh?
Thanks for saving us.
Thanks for coming in.
I can share with you for free Nigerians of the Windows 10 project, Yoruba Linux, Quake, the global computer game, Oracle development. No one tries to find out how they got there or how hard they've worked to get there. Omogbalahan says, like BC said, where goes our values? I was somewhere yesterday. I stood beside a building where MFM worships. I heard a woman ask the pastor why parents today hardly question their kids when they come home with gifts. It starts from home.
I think we should even
somebody,
start
anybody
from there.
says. A lot of business in operations have all the legit packaging and all providing employment opportunity, but some of the workers know that the operations are not straightforward, especially in delivering the service they claim. All the effigy is there, but service is zero.
Let me take this call from Chudi. Chudi, are you there?
Yay.
Yes.
Thanks for calling. Go ahead. Oh, Toby. Go ahead, please. Toby.
Good morning.
Morning. Go ahead, please.
Toby.
Yes. We heard you. You're live. Go ahead.
Good morning. I think I really appreciate all these. I'll call you girls because
Toby, you have 30 seconds. Please go ahead.
I think we lost
the call?
I was listening to himself.
Okay.
So 3J Comedian says, in this country, the problem is if you haven't got money to flaunt, you are nobody. With all your ideas and values, so a lot of youth will always look for ways to blow, by hook or crook. There's a lot of work to do on this present generation, and it begins from home. St. Hilary says, we see our politicians with obvious clarity on how corrupt they are, but they hire legal practitioners who defend them in the court. They are untouchable because they've stabbed us enough to bribe anybody to do their bidding. So tell me, where and how can we express our pain?
I think that we should stop punishing young Nigerians for aspiring for a great life, because it is sad to be poor. I have a case of a legitimate, hardworking Nigerian who needs kidney transplant right now. And I read the story and I'm wondering, how can I help? Because legitimately, the family cannot afford to pay for the surgery. And they have been hardworking legitimately all their lives. So why would people want to hustle anyhow to make money when they know that they can't?
I need to get our callers involved because they've not said anything. Let me talk to, there's a gentleman from Scotland. Thanks for calling. Are you there?
Oh, Scotland.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Stephen.
Yeah, this is my first time calling in.
Welcome to the show.
Our first call from Scotland.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, you guys are doing a wonderful job.
Thank you.
I love what you're doing. And let me go straight to the point I'm making today. My position on what happened to Ekweremadu is that it's a welcome development. We all should come together to deal with every politician who has contributed to the destruction that we are facing today in that country. So that's my point. It's a welcome development. They all need to be dealt with everywhere they go. In the US, in the UK, in every part of Europe, and even in Nigeria. There are people in Nigeria who are ready to do this to the politicians.
Thank you very much, Stephen, for your views. I appreciate your views.
Okay,
yes.
I like this tweet by Ibrahim. He says, I reject the Nigerian label given to these alleged crimes. There are thousands of people from Europe and America who commit these crimes every day, but don't get labeled by their countries of origin. The first time I went to Dubai, I was scammed. Yes, I was scammed. When my husband stepped into UK, he was scammed. So it's everywhere. And I understand that people want to say, okay, the people who are working hard, you are trying to discourage them. But let's even look at our society. In America, for instance, they have the basic amenities. Their life there is so simple. When I got into my sister's house, I didn't even see plenty clothes. She's just simple because everything works. So there's no striving to build 5 houses. Exactly. 5 houses, or make sure there's money stashed somewhere for the kids. There's no struggle for that. So you just do your normal life and you have the basics. But because we don't have it here, you need to have a level of security, and that's why a lot of people get into this. So we should still look at working on the systems.
Does it justify it?
It doesn't justify it, but it's not just about the people. It's about the society as a whole. We should look into it.
Okay, let me just quickly...
We can get some more calls for you.
Yeah, let me just quickly dispute just a bit to what you said about you don't need 5 houses. How many space do you need to sleep? Not the house, the space that you need to sleep in. You just need a little space. So my dad, when he was building his house, we were having this debate on a grand house, and he was like, I have 4 daughters and you're going to get married. I don't need rooms that I'll be fighting for who to sweep. It makes sense today because he's alone with his wife. So really, if you look into your future, what exactly do you need?
Want?
You can provide that with a pension, whatever.
No, you can't in Nigeria. You can't.
You can provide that with a pension. You can also provide that we're providing for your health insurance. You can do as much as you need.
I have a call. I've taken as many calls as possible. Hello, are you there?
We agree.
Yeah.
Glory.
We all agree.
Good morning.
Thanks for calling. Go ahead, please.
I'm a first-time caller.
Welcome to the show.
Then, sorry, my question goes to the...
Oh, we lost that. Sorry. May God keep us alive that one sickness does not hold you. You turn to a beggar immediately in Nigeria.
And that is it.
We agree that we don't want stealing.
No stealing.
Easy life.
We all agree.
Let's be truthful here.
Nigerians don't want anything difficult. And I'm not saying no. Life is life. Life will happen. some people have provided the money. Have we not buried the politicians? Some of them who provided the money. Somebody died in Aso Rock, for God's sake. No. See, we make life so complicated.
And somebody old came into Aso Rock and became young in our very before. Money is good.
It's good.
And I do not support us stealing to get this money.
Yes.
But when you are faced with issues, I'm an only child. If my parents have any medical condition, I know that
it's on your head.
My prayer is that it doesn't get beyond what I'm handling now.
Yeah.
So what are we saying? Why won't I be thinking of how to make more money? And I would not want to steal some, but I'm calculating it and following every rich person I know to understand the procedure they are making.
We have to run it, but unfortunately, I think Chokwe made a very profound point, which I'd like to reiterate. Those of you that are making legitimate money, share your stories.
Yes.
You see, we need to be able to differentiate.
Don't say God's grace.
Don't say God's grace.
Don't hide under grace.
God's grace helps you.
Tell us.
Tell us how you made it so that young people can actually aspire. Because we need the truth. It's the only way we can actually ensure that we have the right role models for this thing we're calling success.
Tell us.
If you have difficulty paying the loan, tell us. How do you make it? The process.
Let's see the struggle.
Break it down.
Yeah.
Don't just say God's grace.
God's
we all
grace.
have God's grace.
My sister, we have all of us.
Unfortunately, that's all we can take on the show today. I hope we learned a few things. Have a fabulous day. We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye-bye.